welcome back to The Ellen Show. Today I'm interviewing Margaret Sanger, the woman who heroically went against the law in order to further the progress of women's rights regarding birth control. So please welcome Margaret.
Hi.
Margaret, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good as well. So can you tell me a bit about your childhood and your family life?
Of course. So I was raised in a middle-class family. My father was an atheist and a stonesmason. My mom was a Christian woman who died at age 50 due to tuberculosis. Growing up with 10 siblings was hard as we had little time to play, especially after my mom died, because it was our responsibility as the older siblings to take care of the younger siblings. Like I mentioned in my autobiography, our dolls were living babies, wiggling bodies to bathe and dress instead of lifeless faces that never cried or slept.
Right. So you began your feminist journey as a nurse, but what was a major turning point that caused you to become so involved with this campaign for reproductive rights?
Well, it had always troubled me to see how terrible unwanted pregnancies were on some women's bodies. I would go to their homes for home birthings when I was a nurse, and I remember women just helplessly, desperately asking me what they could do to avoid getting pregnant in the future, and I had no answer for them. But the major turning point would be when one of my patients died due to giving herself an at-home abortion. This really troubled me because I believe that all women should have total rights and control over their reproductive rights, which led me to begin my mission to fight for this, especially regarding low-income and minority women in regards to family planning. I began my mission by traveling to France in order to learn more about contraceptives. In 1914, after returning to the United States, I created a newspaper that was titled Women Rebel, and I gained followers. I remember sitting around the kitchen table with some of my girlfriends, brainstorming on what else we could do for this movement, and that's when we came up with the term birth control.
Wow, amazing. So what kind of issues did you go through during your fight for reproductive rights?
Well, I was arrested and given the option to promise to stay silent or to do 30 days jail time, so I went with the jail time. After I finished my 30-day sentence in 1917, I started a monthly review on birth control. As my review gained popularity and followers, it led to the starting of the American Birth Control League in 1921, which was for the most part involving nurses, doctors, and social workers. But then 2 years later, in 1923, we opened the first legal clinic to give out birth control information in New York, and this was called the Birth Control Clinic Research Bureau. It was run by female doctors. This was followed by the founding and opening of the first International Planned Parenthood Federation in 1952.
Wow, amazing.
Thank you.
So, recently, Donald Trump has proposed a gag rule on abortion, which prohibits foreign countries from receiving the U.S. aid in safe and legal abortion, even if they can afford it. This gag rule also threatens Planned Parenthood and Title X from discussing abortion referrals with their patients. How do you feel about this?
Well, this takes me back to the eugenics movement, where the Nazis attempted to control abortion and birth control in an effort to downsize the power of other races and create a superior human race. Like Hitler, Trump is a dictator who is attempting to limit and undermine the power and choices of women, and he has no right to do so. We need to come together as women and fight for this not to be the case. White men have enough power. I've said it once and I'll say it a million times. Women cannot be on equal footing with men until they have full and complete control over their reproductive function. Anti-abortionists have always targeted the Title X program, as they know that without funding to this program, there will be a lack of crucial items such as new equipment, new staff members, and being able to expand to new locations due to the rent money. Patients of Title X would receive poor quality of care as well as less entry to family planning and safe reproductive services, given that these suggested restrictions take place within Planned Parenthood and Title X.
Nicely said. Okay, so through the last few decades, birth control has improved and expanded tremendously. We now have birth control shots, implants, sponges, patches, rings, IUDs, cervical caps, and male and female condoms. How do you feel about this?
Well, I think that it is amazing that we have access to all these. Every woman's body's different. Everybody reacts to birth control differently. And this wouldn't be possible without all the help that we got throughout our fight for reproductive rights. But we do, however, still need to stand together as a community and fight for the rights over our bodies, as well as Title X and Planned Parenthood. Conservatives often interpret Title X and Planned Parenthood as somewhere solely to go to get abortions, but this is not the case. They are a healthcare system that delivers exams, STD screenings and treatments, birth control information, cervical and breast cancer screenings. And some women of low income or in foreign countries don't have access to family planning or birth control, and it's our job to do everything that we can to help provide for them. I mean, we gotta continue this fight for reproductive rights.
Yes, ma'am. All right, so everybody give a round of applause for Margaret Sanger. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Right.